Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Check this out, y'all. I want to talk to y'all about this phenomenon called keeping it penitentiary solid, right? Um, a lot of people coming into the system end up, being talked to by, you get talked to by old heads when you come into the system. You get talked to by people in the same lane as you that are new to the system and so on and so forth. And it starts at the county jail, right, where you're told about prison and how it works and what you should do and how you should function. And you see it on TV, you see it in the movies, and all of these different things about how you should conduct yourself in prison so you can survive the experience, right? Okay, let's look, check this out. This is what a lot of people don't tell you, right? That one of the reasons that, and this is for you parents out there or loved ones out there to have someone in prison that's first timers or into the system and whatnot. What a lot of people don't tell you is that transformation process that takes place, right, is not because they necessarily want to convert or switch over, switch that switch in their mind to where they want to be penitentiary solid. It's a mechanism that's switched in place, out of survival. And I'm going to give you some examples, a good example of that in this story, because this is something that just happened the other day that blew my mind. And I was trying to explain this to people that have been locked up for 20 plus years, but they've been fortunate enough to be at a facility that doesn't have all the ruckus and stuff that goes on like these other facilities that I've been to. And it amazed me that I found myself in a conversation with some people that have been locked up a couple of decades and people that worked in facilities, have been working in these facilities all these years. It amazed me that they did not understand that this is something that happens, you know what I'm saying, when you're in an environment that calls for you to put up a shut up. And I just want to share those kind of thoughts that we had in this conversation with y'all. So look here, y'all. This is going to be a good one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Check me out, y'all. Look here, a lot of people don't understand what it means to be penitentiary solid, but I'm going to try to explain that to you today because I'm really amazed that I found myself in a conversation with some guys that have been locked up for a while that didn't have any clue as to what was going on because they've been pretty much insulated from the environments and the behaviors that go on in those environments. So their perception of what's really going on with this prison experience is totally different than mine because I've been to some places where it goes down every day, all day, right? And at this facility, I've been at this facility. This is my second time here, but at this facility, if it pops off, it's rare. And if it does pop off, it doesn't get to the extent that somebody dies or, by stabbing or fighting or anything like that. At this facility, it's laid back in comparison to other places. Uh, this is a hospital, and it's a facility where people come to get treated for medical issues, mental health issues, dentists, things like that. And you have people here that work as support staff. And it's a coveted place to be by most standards because you don't really have to worry about being assaulted, mistreated. You might have to deal with, tighter rein on the rules and stuff like that, which is understandable to an extent. But you don't really have to worry about the population. And if somebody in the population is causing you trouble, trust me and believe, the administration will deal with them like that, without hesitation. They do not hesitate to take action to make sure that this institution is and remains to be, for the most part, a safe environment to be in. Just got to give them their props on that. Okay. Now the other day, I found myself in a conversation with people talking about, why is it these young guys that's coming into the system? Why are they so out of control and why are they so crazy and this, and that? And then and I'm sitting there listening. I'm not saying anything about it, right? Because I don't like those types of conversations for the most part, because you have a mixture of people involved in those conversations in most of the time that have not had the experiences that some of us have had, that could explain why they act the way they do, even though they're new buddies. Even though they're new buddies, it's almost as if some of these guys have forgotten what it's like other than in passing. For example, they were at other institutions briefly, and then they found themselves at a place like this and been here for decades, been here for 10 plus years. And it's almost as if they, like I say, have forgotten what it was like to be at other places, or it's almost like they've forgotten that looming threat that hangs over everybody's head in prison, that you can be moved at any time. You can be moved at any time for any reason. And let me explain to you this conversation. The area where I was working at, there's always young guys coming in, get haircuts, play ball, this, that, whatever. And for the most part, a lot of the people that work in the area that I'm in, a lot of people that come to the gym, a lot of people that come to the shop, and in the gym are people that have done some time and been here for a while. So they find themselves in conversations where people are trying to tell them, look here, youngin, you ain't got to act like that at this facility. You can lean back, you can chill. You don't have to worry about anybody doing anything to you. You don't have to worry about wearing your boots to the shower. A lot of things that you would have to worry about other prisons, you just don't have to worry about here. And they'll talk to them about that. And the young ones, in the presence of these individuals, they'll be like, yeah, I hear you. I'm glad I'm here, and this, and that. But see, most of the time, I'm sitting somewhere away from that conversation, close enough to hear, but away from it. And when they are walking away from the conversation, leaving the individuals that they just finished talking to, I can hear the mumblings. Or I found out later on, about the mumblings, because they'll see me later on in the afternoon and night, and they'll ask me, what was up with such and such saying this to me and that to me, this, and that, right? Well, I don't even know why they own that, you know what I mean? At any time, things could pop off in prison. They are locked in on that. They are locked in. Because when they were in the county jails, they were told that this is prison. This is what can happen at any time. This is what can happen at any time. And a lot of young people won't allow themselves, and a lot of older people now, because it's gotten so violent at these other places, a lot of people won't allow themselves to get comfortable in here to the extent that you can relax and you don't have to be involved in it. It's almost like they're hypnotized to the fact that they have to act a certain way. And they don't want to do anything that can be construed or interpreted as they are pro-administration. They don't want to be seen as somebody that would help the administration make the prison run smoothly. They don't want to engage in conversations that promote nonviolence, that promote accepting responsibility, that promote you being a good citizen even though you are incarcerated. They would rather engage in conversations about criminality, getting over, manipulation, learning the game. And the main reason they do that is because they always think about the prospect of being sent to another facility. Because if you get sent to another facility and it is found out by the people at these other facilities that you were somebody that was pro the administration, somebody that was involved in trying to help the administration run the prison in a smooth type of way that didn't benefit the population, but it benefited the administration, meaning a do-boy. Some cases a snitch. You got trouble. You got trouble. No doubt about it. You got trouble. And another reason that they don't do that is because a lot of people in the administration, for whatever reason, they end up using that against the guys and making them feel like, well, you told me something last time and you did the right thing. Why are you not telling me this time? And it makes them feel like they're a snitch. For example, if somebody were to try or somebody OD on some drugs and they're looking into it, and because the person is concerned about the other person, they tell them, you know what I'm saying, yeah, he OD'd on drugs. They're trying to make sure they know the facts of what happened before they make a decision concerning this person. You know what I'm saying? And the people that were involved but not the one that OD'd were honest about what happened, forthcoming about what happened. Then something happens after that. Then they come back to them again and say, well, you told me what happened with that situation. Why are you not helping me with this situation? It's doing the right thing. So they don't want to be connected to that because they don't want to be used in that way. That's how they interpret that. So they won't participate in anything that can make them look like they are a snitch. It's like on the streets when you have a crime happen, a violent crime or whatever, in front of dozens of witnesses. And everybody knows from the police, the law enforcement knows dozens of people out there, but nobody comes forward. Nobody comes forward to tell what really happened because they don't want to be associated with being a snitch, or they don't want to be associated with being somebody that will cooperate with the authorities. Now keep in mind, they don't like the behavior no more than anybody else, but they don't want to be associated with that word, that behavior, because they fear that it will be used against them by one side or the other. And that's what I mean by trying to keep it penitentiary solid, penitentiary real. You know what I'm saying? In the penitentiary, what is interpreted as being solid and real is being against the administration, no matter what. And I just don't believe in that anymore. I don't support that anymore. I don't really think I ever did. I think I was like most people. I bought into it because I felt like I had to. Because the consequences in here, y'all, are real. And it's hard to explain to somebody that's never been in prison or never been caught up in anything to take this way of thinking on as a lifestyle, that it makes sense. It's hard for you to get that. I know that. Because what you're saying is that just tell the truth or just do the right thing. Well, what if telling the truth can cause you to die? Are you that strong? Always? What if telling the truth can put you in harm's way, maybe not cause your death, but get you physically assaulted? Get people coming to take everything away from you. People harming your family. What if you were found put in a situation like that? Would you be as strong as you are asking me to be? Now don't get it twisted. I'm with you now. But then, no. I couldn't see myself doing that. But because I'm in this environment now where I feel safe, it's a safe space, and I hope that, that's not used against me later on, because you never know what can happen. But I do feel like I'm in a safe place, physically and mentally. And if I ever find myself in an unsafe place, physically, I hope that I can continue to feel safe mentally and conduct myself in the right way. Because I am not the person that I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm not, and I know that. But a big portion of that has to be because of the environment that I'm in. But I am like a lot of these guys that I'm talking about in this episode. I do not allow myself to become so comfortable that I forget what it was like. But I also when I say what it was like, what I mean what it's like in other places. But I also remind myself how bad it is in those other places and how bad those other places make you act. And I remind myself that I don't want to be that person anymore. I'm not that person anymore. And sometimes you're going to be uncomfortable with doing the right thing. I tell myself that every day. And it permeates down into the cores of my being to where I find myself, even when it comes to the smaller issues, telling the truth at all times, not being deceitful and manipulative at all times. Those types of things, the day-to-day interactions that could cause me to feel like a lie is better than the truth, or manipulate this situation so I can come out ahead. I check myself on all of that all day, every day. It's not just the big things that go on. And I try to tell people that, the people that I'm around in here, that it's okay to let your guard down. But I understand why you don't. And until people understand that you understand why they don't, then they're not going to listen to you. So if you're a family member out there, a loved one that has somebody in prison, and you start to notice, and they're at another facility that is not as safe as this one, and you start to notice that they're switching up how they talk and how they feel and how they believe about things, and they're becoming more and more penitentiary, tell them that you understand why. But you need to also tell them that they need to hold on to that sense of safety mentally, because it's hard. Doesn't mean it's not worth it. But at the same time, you need to tell them a few other things too, and I'm gonna give you a couple of them. You know, it's easy to tell somebody that you need to hold on mentally to feeling safe, even though the physical environment is not, so that you won't become so blinded by your rage and your anger and your fear that you act a certain way. What you need to tell them, in addition to that, is that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. That sometimes, you know, you gotta learn in here, and when you're in those violent environments, to limit your exposure. Limit your exposure as much as you can. If you have to stay in the cell, stay in the cell. If you have to limit the people that you hang around with, limit the people that you hang around with. Don't join a gang under any circumstances. Because once you do that, they're going to manipulate and dictate what you think, how you think, and how to apply it. And in the short term, it's going to be hard, but in the long term, it's going to be better. And that, on top of believing that you're going to come out of this. Because when you don't believe that you're going to come out of this thing, you'll find yourself trying to do whatever you can to survive it, because you think this is it for you, and it's not. It's not. You have to believe that you have a future. How does that work for somebody that's got 20, 30, 40, 50 years? For me, it was business. I learned to run my own business with the help of my family. Find something to occupy your time, separate from the lifestyle and the things that can occupy you in the penitentiary. Because if you rely on this here, you got to tell them now, y'all love them. If you rely on this here, it's only a matter of time before the shades get pulled down and it gets dark. That's just what it is. So just wanted to let you know that when it comes to, you know, why a lot of people in here want to act like they don't want to be good people because they feel like they need to be penitentiary straight, penitentiary solid. You understand? Because when you call yourself being penitentiary straight, you're saying that you're committed to the lifestyle. You're saying that you're not strong enough to with to withstand what can come your way. Convince them, if you love them, that they're strong. They just made a bad decision. But being penitentiary strong, or penitentiary solid, I'm going to say that. Being penitentiary solid is not something to be proud of. It's saying that you have no problem in living that lifestyle. And we all should have a problem with that. I'm going to wrap it up on that, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.